But we kick off hour number 3 with our colleague from ESPN, from NFL Live, and so many other shows. Mina Kimes, good to see you, Mina. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really happy to be in Indianapolis this year.
You are?
The weather's not that bad. You know, we're from LA. We're babies.
Right.
I was prepared for the worst, and it's actually been pretty mild.
Okay, very good. And then do you do the traffic as well? It's just a great city for the combine, and I hope it never moves. It's really great. Yeah. I mean, the studio that you're emanating from is the stadium.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat, and it's the first time that you and I have chatted since you were part of one of the biggest nights of my career.
Oh my goodness,
Mina.
We gotta do it again.
For that. I will do it. I'm going to do another Sports Center soon. The date has been picked. I mean, I don't know how the stuff gets announced, but
that was a blast.
That was an amazing night. I'm glad that you were there for it.
I was honored to be a part of it. It was so much fun. And also, when I think back to like the football we talked, I remember we were like, "Wow, the Bengals defense." Not
looking good.
And lo and behold,
I know.
It proved to be their undoing.
I know. It was the Commanders versus the Bengals on a Monday night during the preseason. Your Seahawks winning it all. How do you feel it will resonate in the NFL? Because, it's a copycat league.
That's right, yeah.
And the copycatting begins in an event like this, where tonight the defensive backs, everyone's going to see. They certainly won't let the next Nick Emmanwori slip to the second round. But I'm just wondering how you see the way the Seahawks won it and the way that this league might try to copycat it. What do you think?
It's a great question. It obviously starts with defense. That was the identity of the team. It was the signature of the Super Bowl, right? It was how dominant they were. But I think what's tricky from a copycat perspective is there are so many reasons why that defense was elite, starting with the coaching. Mike Macdonald, I think, is now the preeminent defensive mind of football. You're seeing his tree, by the way, proliferate. You got like Jesse Minter right now, going back to Baltimore. I think that defense, that style will be in vogue in part and because of it. And when I say that style, I'm talking about the Seattle defense that rarely played base, meaning rarely put 3 linebackers on the field. Nick Emmanwori was in many ways the skeleton key to their ability to play in sub packages, nickel and dime, but still defend the run. So every team around the league wants to do that. Great. Can we play too high, not put a linebacker on the field to still be sound on the run? You need really good players to do that.
Right.
Not just Emmanwori, edges who can defend the run really well. Linebackers, the spine of that defense was so elite. So it's not as simple as saying one player like an Emmanwori could unlock it, but a player like him is part of that plan.
Right, and then just the ability to stay fresh on a defensive rush front over and over and over again. Obviously, the Eagles were doing that the year before also. And then last night, I mean, all those.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? I mean, that performance that we saw last night from both groups, 100%, there's enough defenders that you could potentially go and draft and add to your complement and try and do what the Seahawks just did.
I really like the top defensive linemen in this draft, who you're alluding to, some of their performances, like a David Bailey. And when you watch his tape, you see what an incredible athlete he is. So it's only the combine, as you know, is in many ways just kind of reinforcing what we see on tape with some of these athletic numbers. But when you see like a him or a Sonny Styles or a Reese put on a show, it lines up with what you saw all season long. And for teams that are considering drafting them in the top 5, it's reassuring that they're making the right decision.
What did you think Darnold doing what he's done will, again, resonate as we're about to see from, what your colleagues at ESPN and mine at NFL Network, soon to be all colleagues together, are basically pegging 4 or 5 quarterbacks who are going to get cut. And folks, Tua, Kyler, Kirk Cousins, just to name 3. Geno Smith is another one that we're just wondering how to win Super Bowls, and how Darnold just did it on his 5th team, how you think that's going to resonate.
I think even more so than is this a first rounder who, struggled and then has this kind of comeback story, which I think is that, we're looking for that, right? But I think maybe setting that aside, watching him and thinking about how that team was built, you really see the appeal of the middle-class quarterback. Because Darnold wasn't making top-end money. He was paid pretty good. I think it was in the $40 million, but just 40s.
No, but when you're talking about Tua and
but yeah,
Kyler
when you're talking
and
about guys who are making 55
Trevor
plus
Lawrence
and whatnot.
as well, sure.
So if you're a team like a Minnesota who let him go, or Pittsburgh, for example, there I think is some appeal taking a veteran who is already pretty further along in their development and not having to pay them top-end quarterback money, I would say, compared to even drafting a guy, which is obviously what Minnesota did.
Yeah, and thus trying to stick with him or commit to him, or the idea that they were going to have to commit to him because they drafted him, is a reason why Darnold is saying apples to apples, I'm going to a spot where I'm going to be the starter and I can start my own way, right? And now you're trying to figure out whether you can, even in the salary cap world of $300 million, as it was announced today, having a quarterback at $30 million, $40 million, and you're able to do that, that's the stuff, right? I mean, that's it.
I look at a Kyler, to me, as being really appealing.
Why?
Because I think he, more than anyone else you mentioned, potentially fits that mold of somebody who's been, and say this about Kyler, going into this offseason versus Sam Darnold going into Seattle.
Yes.
Kyler had higher highs. I mean, people forget 2020, Kyler Murray was an MVP candidate. Even 2 years ago, I thought Kyler Murray was playing pretty good football, but he's had so many injuries and there's been streakiness and inconsistency.
Yes.
If I'm a team that's pretty well built and I look at him and think, I don't have to pay, I can pay him like the middle class salary we're talking about, I would find that really appealing.
The guy I would go get would be Mac Jones.
San Francisco is really going to be asking a lot, I think.
Don't care.
Woo.
Because I know. Listen,
I like him. I thought he was great this year.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, if you're looking who the next Sam Darnold is, I'm going to go with a guy who started in the AFC East, drafted in the first round, didn't work out, had to bounce around, went to the Kyle Shanahan reboot camp. You know what I mean? And let's see what he can do. Yeah. That would be sort of a flyer I would take more than certainly acquiring Kyler Murray's contract. I'm just assuming what you mean is after he's cut.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's the way you would take a shot. Right. So that's what I would do. And you're already hearing from here Ben Johnson talking about we're getting calls on Tyson Bagent.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like I think this is where teams are thinking right now. Is like, let's try and price somebody's second quarterback and see if that could be the next Darnold here.
If we're talking trades, I'll throw out another name that intrigues me.
Please.
Tanner McKee in Philadelphia.
Why is that? There's a lot of times that I've heard his name too.
Yeah,
sure.
Just the tape that he's put out, whether it's in the preseason or in limited starts, there's a lot to like in terms of accuracy. Mm-hmm. I would say similarities to a couple of the quarterbacks you mentioned in some way. And I think if you're a team who doesn't like this draft, and that's pretty common for the, and you're willing to part with the draft pick, but you don't want to spend a ton of money, it makes sense.
Right. Mina Kimes here on the Rich Eisen Show. So the rest of the combine, you're looking forward to seeing what here? Like, what are you interested in before you? Because you're here today and then gone tomorrow. But what are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, okay. So a lot of every time I say a name, I get told, no, he's actually not running. He's not working out.
I know.
So
you and me both, and I'm calling the combine.
I'll throw out a name that I think is incredibly athletic, and I hope he's working out. I thought he was. Kenny Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon.
Right.
Who is I think he's best tight end in the draft, and I think it would behoove him to work out because you could put on a show. He's just so athletic. Mm-hmm. I think what we've seen, too, Rich, is tight ends have been producing a lot earlier than they have in the past. I mean, think about the three tight ends last year: Warren, Loveland, Fannin Jr., all really good year one. The NFL has changed a lot. I think play callers are better at finding ways to call offense for these college tight ends as they come into the league. So if I was a team like Chargers, maybe, I don't know, who's looking for a complete tight end who blocks too, I think he's a great name.
Okay. And on the quarterback side, who do you think is the second best? Because it is are you of the mindset that Mendoza's okay? Because I know some of our colleagues feel a little bit differently on that, but Mendoza is it,
I think
right?
pretty clearly.
There's no question.
To me,
There's no doubt that he is. I feel the same way. So then who's two in your mind?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be Ty Simpson out of Alabama, and I think with him that there's just a lot of speculation. It's like JJ a few years ago coming out of Michigan, like he hasn't played that much, and I think it's also you look at the season and it was such a roller coaster. I mean, the beginning of the season looked so different from the end of the season. Even within games, you would see him make like a spectacular throw, and then a couple of plays later, panic under pressure. So I think for whoever takes him, to me, ideally it would be a spot where he doesn't have to play immediately.
Right.
And I think if there's a team who thinks he's going to start right away, that would be a mistake.
What do you think about the Rams? Do you think they're going to use one of their picks on any of these quarterbacks? Because I kind of feel like if you got Stafford one more time, you load up.
That's how I feel, too. I mean, right. I think, yes, if it was a quarterback available mid-round, sure. But I just think the Rams have these valuable draft picks early. The clearly pass defense was a need that was exposed during the postseason run. Personally, I would go all in on this iteration of the team because I think many of us saw that they were obviously the second-best team in football this year.
Are you also of the mindset the defense of the NFC Championship game was the de facto Super Bowl? Just reminding you.
Very reminiscent of Super Bowl 48, too, right? When the Seahawks played the 49ers, the famous Richard Sherman game.
Right.
And then the Super Bowl was anticlimactic. Felt a lot like that this year, too.
So you are of that mindset.
Yeah, similar, yeah.
And the Seahawks need to do what to repeat?
Well, they got to figure out what they're going to do with a lot of the free agents. There's a bunch. Tariq Woolen, Josh Jobe, who I thought was really good for them as a outside corner. Kenneth Walker, of course, the MVP. Boye Mafe. So it'll be Rashid Shaheed. So they actually weirdly have a lot of money. I say weirdly because we don't usually associate a Super Bowl team with having so much cap space, but they've drafted so well. They have some room to maneuver. So they'll be able to bring back some of those guys. I think positionally, just addressing whoever leaves, frankly, and then guard. But they're in a great spot.
I think Woolen's going to be expensive.
I think so, too.
And I don't know what they're going to do with Kenneth Walker. What is your best guess?
I think they want to keep him.
Sure.
But I think if what he wants is top, and money.
Why wouldn't he ask for it, right?
Well, I would say I don't know if that's what the market looks like for him. There's a ton of really good free agent running backs, which tends to bring prices down. It's why Dallas was able to sign Javonte Williams to $8 million a year, really affordable contract. So if you're Seattle, you're like, do I want to pay twice that, knowing that we can get a middle-class running back, like a Kenneth Gainwell or a Rico Dowdle, so I think, sure. Or draft someone in the mid-rounds.
Yeah, Dowdle is available.
There's a bunch of players. Algier, there's a lot of really good backs. So.
Well, thanks for coming on here.
This is so much fun.
I really appreciate it. And anytime, you know that. And are you ready for us to all join forces?
I want to run it back on SportsCenter at night.
We'll do that. Well, I mean, that was part. I kind of already am halfway there with the Disney, relationship. But all of us at NFL Network we're fired up about the future here, even though we have no idea what it's going to look like. But I have a feeling if we flash forward to 1 year from now, I think we're all going to be part of a combine coverage.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. Maybe get you out there on the field yourself.
Ooh, that'd be fun. I've never actually done that. So.
Is that right?
I've never been there.
Well, there we go. Mina Kimes right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.